Is Android better than iOS? Is iOS better than Android? These are the desperate questions that we must answer in today's video. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. And today, thank you so much for stopping by. We are going to discuss whether or not Android is better than iOS, or I guess iOS is better than Android. What makes up that decision? Is it something that we can really decide? Let's get through some things here. It's interesting to be a YouTuber and get comments on your videos all the time. Negative comments mostly, where if you say something positive about an Android phone, you get somebody who likes a different Android phone or whatever, that phone's trash, blah, 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 blah. And then if you say things that are positive about an iPhone, you get people from almost every walk of Android life coming onto your channel and saying it's trash and how they convinced you to buy last year's phone and yada, yada, yada. But does that make one better than the other? Let's talk about some of the features that are unique to each one and see if we can walk through this discussion. We'll look at Android first. I mean, Android is, I think the biggest thing about Android for most people is it's more customizable. You know, you can put your own launchers on there, you can put widgets on there, you can have multiple screens, you can have all icons, everything, themes, dark mode, light mode, and even more, you can make your own widgets on Android. So the customizability is something that a lot of people look to and say, this is why Android is better. Another is generally the wider range of features that you can, you got the S Pen. The S Pen from Samsung is one of the features. The heart rate monitor, the 90 hertz screen on the OnePlus 7 Pro, the 120 hertz screen on the Razer phones, and I think the Asus ROG phone also has a 120 hertz screen. There you can just get a lot of different stuff. I guess that brings me to the last reason that I'm just going to go 3 reasons why Android may be considered better, and then I'm going to do 3 reasons why iOS may be considered better. The third one here for Android is there are more varieties in the phones. You know, you can get just in the flagship range, you can get the V50 from LG that has a great headphone jack. You can get, as I said, the Note 10 Plus that has the S Pen. You can get the S10, S10 Plus, S10e at all different price points. Pixel with its camera, all those kinds of things. You can go and spend your money in any way that you want to get the features that are most interesting to you. When you get to iOS, what are some features about iOS that some people may dislike, some people may appreciate? But it's, we'll just talk about what those. The iOS is not very customizable. You just get the icons on the screen and you can rearrange the icons, and it's kind of cumbersome and everything like that. But it is what it is. No widgets on the screen, although there are some kinds of widgets, but they're not the same as Android. There are fewer features in comparison to some Android phones in the iPhones. And whereas there is that large variety of Android phones to choose from, not just the expensive flagships, but all the way down to like $200 and $300 Android phones that are still that are still really good phones, take good pictures, make the good phone calls, all that kind of stuff. Samsung has made a living with a lot of phones in different market tiers. But when it comes to the iPhone, you have a few models each year. It used to just be one, but now you get the Pro and the Pro Max, and then the 11 this year. Plus, they still keep the 8 around, so the 8 and the 8 Plus. So there are not that many iPhone models available, especially compared to the wide variety of Android options out there. Let's turn it around and talk about what are some things that iOS has that Android maybe doesn't have or doesn't do in the same way, doesn't focus on whatever. I mean, number one, you've got integration across pretty much every Apple device. So if you get an iPhone and you have a MacBook or an iMac or an iPad or Apple TV or an Apple Watch or any of those things, they are all linked together through the magic of Apple's software. That is something that is really valuable to a lot of the iPhone customers. They like that they can get phone calls on their computers. They like that they can make FaceTime calls and that kind of thing. When you're using an iPhone and the Apple TV, it pops up. You can actually use the keyboard on your iPhone to type in stuff in a search bar instead of having to scroll across the screen and that kind of thing. You can also use voice commands and all that. And it works really, really well. So that's one thing that people like about iOS. Next is iMessages, AirDrop, and AirPlay. These are reasons that a lot of people point to for why they stay with the iPhone and don't move over to an Android phone or something like that. iMessage is the one that most people talk about the most, and they talk specifically about things like sending videos or anything like that, and the security of it, because if you send videos on SMS or MMS, they don't look as good, etc., etc. You can do FaceTime calls with up to like 32 people or something. There's nothing on Android that comes close to that. AirDrop is a feature that is incredibly valuable to somebody like myself. I use AirDrop all the time. If I take some photos or video with my iPhone, all I have to do is select that photo, video, whatever it is, and then go to AirDrop and send it over to my computer, and and then I can just work with it on the computer and do what I need to do. So AirDrop is one of those things that I think flies under the radar for a lot of people, but for the people who use it, it is a game changer and maybe a deal breaker when it comes to iOS versus Android. And finally, iOS and the iPhone offers a longer potential shelf life for your device. Basically, if you have an iPhone that's 5 years old or newer, you know that you're going to get the most recent update of iOS, no matter what device it is. There's no Android phone out there that offers that same level of upgradability. So most Android phones will do something like 2 years guaranteed of upgrades. So maybe you get another version of Android laid on top, but it can take a long time. It can take a long time for that to happen. And then, maybe you get 3 years of security updates, but that's not guaranteed with every manufacturer either. Whereas the iPhone, if you've got an iPhone that's still being supported with software upgrades, then, you get the latest and greatest features. You get everything that comes with the new version of the operating system. And unless there's something hardware-wise that is not on your phone, that is in the new phone, like I think some of the camera stuff in the new iPhone, then you get everything. And basically that means you get a new phone in one way or another every year. And you get those updates year after year after year after year. These are the things that we can talk about when we talk about differences here, there, whatever, about Android and iOS. But does that mean Android is better or iOS is better than its counterpart? No. Now, I'm sure that there are some of you out there, you're really mad. You're like, but listen to me here. Listen to me here. And maybe you're furiously typing away saying, well, of course Android/iOS is better because of the feature you just talked about. You're wrong. You're wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. Let me introduce you all to the concept of objectivity versus subjectivity. Okay? Subjectivity basically means that you, the subject, are looking at something and appraising it based on your own values, appraising it based on what you like or need or don't need. So if you look at an Android phone and you're somebody who values the kinds of features that Android offers you, then the Android is better for you. And the same goes for iOS. The iOS phone, whatever iPhone you have, if you like the kinds of features and everything that I just talked about the iPhone, then subjectively in your mind, iOS is better. Your opinion is valuable. I mean, everybody has an opinion, and it's always great to have more people voice their opinions, and that way we have more sort of refraction points to discuss. But it is still, at the end of the day, subjectively, your opinion. Whatever choice you make in your smartphone or anything else, with cars or anything else like that, is your opinion about what is best for you. Now, objectivity is something different. Objectivity is when you look at something and, you don't bring your biases or your personal wants or desires into the equation. It's more analysis based on facts, for lack of a better word. Without your own personal values put into it, what you want from an iPhone or what you want from an Android phone and what you need to have in your daily life, you can't really say that one is better than the other. It just can't be done. So let's ask the question we asked at the start again. Is Android better than iOS? No. Objectively, no. They are not. Each operating system basically performs the same functions. They have their own wrinkles on features and everything like that, but they make phone calls, they let you check your email, they give you opportunity to surf the web and get into your social medias and watch your YouTubes and all that kind of stuff. There is nothing in the basic functions of an Android phone or an iPhone that can't be gotten in another phone. Okay, looking at this, and this is why I get frustrated with the kinds of conversations that go on around smartphones, sometimes in my comments and on other people's comments. People are fanboys of this or fanboys of that. I mean, of course, everybody has a bias. Everybody ends up liking one thing more than the other. As a reviewer, one of the things that I try and do is look at things as objectively as possible and then judge from there. I at some point also bring in some of my subjective viewpoints, some of the things that I value in smartphones more than other people might, and that will ultimately color some of my view. But I never sit here and make the argument that an iPhone is better, iOS is better, or Android is better, or Android phones are better. You simply can't make that argument and make it stick, right? So when we get into all these, factions of, Samsung Knights and Pixel Peepers and whatever people call themselves, and the Apple fanboys, the iSheep, whatever you want to call those people, they're expressing your personal opinion. Your personal value system is being represented by what you have chosen. But to go to somebody's video, to go into a conversation with somebody or anything else like that and say, the iPhone is trash, or the Android is trash, or whatever, is not an argument. It's not an argument. It's your statement of your opinion. So let's try and think about that when we discuss these things in the future. There's the subjective, where your opinion is everything that matters about what your conclusions are. And then there's the objective, where you look at things with a little bit more dispassionate eye and think about the pluses and minuses. And eventually you can make your own choice. But when I talk about smartphones, it's my goal to look objectively at what the smartphone offers and then use the smartphone and then come out with what I feel, both subjective and objective, is my experience with that phone. So there's no such thing as a totally objective review. There's no such thing as a totally subjective review. Everything is filtered through my personal feelings, the personal feelings of anyone else who's doing a review. Okay? So is the iPhone better than Android phones? No. Is Android better than iOS? No. It's just your opinion, man. And that's all I got to say for today. So if you've been here through this whole thing, thank you so much for stopping by. If you want to come on back again, then like, subscribe, bell, notify. And if you've been here before, thanks so much for coming back again. I really do appreciate it. Once again, for the record, my name is Jason. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.